Has it ever happened to you? To be surrounded by people and still feel like you're made of air? As if no one notices when you arrive or when you disappear? That was Jonas, a 26-year-old young man from a forgotten little village called Stonevale. The streets were narrow, wooden houses creaked in the wind, and golden dust rose every time someone walked by. It was a beautiful place, but for Jonas, it carried a silent kind of cruelty. Jonas was the kind of person who always showed up for everyone, but nobody ever showed up for him. He helped everyone, fixed broken fences, carried water for the elderly, fed abandoned animals, cared for the sick, gave half his food to those in need. But nobody helped Jonas. Nobody asked how he was. Nobody remembered him when it mattered. To the village, he was useful, but never important. Seen, but never truly noticed. And that kind of silence slowly destroys a soul. One cold autumn morning, Jonas was carrying a huge sack of corn to the community tent. It was so heavy it made his arms tremble. When he arrived, the village leaders were arguing about what to do with that year's abundant harvest. Jonas gathered courage and said, I might have an idea. But he never finished. The leader raised his hand, annoyed. Jonas, please, not now. This is serious business. Some people laughed, others rolled their eyes. No one waited for him to finish. At that moment, the sack slipped from his hands. Corn spilled across the ground, rolling like tiny yellow tears, and nobody bent down to help. Nobody asked if he was okay. Nobody even looked at him. Jonas stayed there, on his knees, watching the corn scatter like pieces of his dignity, and thought, why is it so easy for the world to treat me like I'm nothing? That night, unable to sleep, Jonas wandered through the quiet streets of Stonevale. He walked to the oldest place in the village, a massive oak tree, so ancient its roots looked like hands rising from the earth. The moon rested gently on its branches, as if God himself had left a lantern burning there for those in need of comfort. Jonas sat beneath it, leaned his head against the trunk, and let the tears fall, the kind of tears that make no sound but shake the soul. Then he heard slow, steady footsteps. It was Master Samuel, the oldest and wisest man in the village, the kind of man who saw what no one else could. He sat beside Jonas without asking anything, simply sharing the silence. After a long moment, he said, "My son, you are not invisible. You just forgot to exist for yourself." Jonas swallowed hard. "Then how do I earn respect?" Samuel smiled with the calmness of someone who carries ancient truths. "Respect doesn't come from shouting, and it doesn't come from shrinking. There are 5 silent forces. When you learn to use them, no one dares to ignore you. 1. The way you occupy space. When you shrink, the world steps on you. When you rise, the world adjusts. 2. Calm movement. Those who rush look lost. Those who move slowly radiate strength. 3. The steady gaze. It's not confrontation, it's presence. 4. Deep listening. A person who truly listens becomes unforgettable. 5. Silence that leads. Not the silence of fear, the silence of authority. Jonas absorbed every word like keys, unlocking doors he never knew existed. Posture. He straightened his body, relaxed his shoulders, lifted his chin, walked with presence, not apology. And something changed immediately. People stepped aside. The baker greeted him. Children no longer laughed. Calm. He stopped rushing, stopped acting like someone always late. Every step had intention. The air around him shifted. The gaze. He began looking people in the eyes with gentle firmness. The blacksmith paused and said, "You look different." Jonas simply smiled. Months later, a severe drought struck Stonevale. The main well was almost dry. People gathered in the square, desperate, yelling, blaming, panicking, chaos. But Jonas remained silent, calm, present, like the oak tree that had held his tears. When the noise began to fade, Jonas took one single step forward. The entire square fell silent. He said, "We will share the well, 1 family per week, silence first, acceptance after." He didn't shout. He didn't demand. And yet, everyone listened. For the first time, Jonas was heard before anyone else, not because he was the loudest, but because he had become whole. Over time, Jonas didn't just change the village, he changed himself. He stopped hiding, stopped shrinking, stopped asking permission to exist. Self-respect became his light, a light strong enough to illuminate others. And Jonas finally understood. Respect does not begin in the eyes of others. It begins in the way you carry yourself through life. When you change on the inside, the world changes on the outside. If this story spoke to your heart, don't let it end here. Share it with someone who also needs to remember the value they carry inside. Subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and walk with me. Here, your wounds find a voice. Here, your soul finds rest. Here, God speaks in the silence. Write in the comments what this message awakened in you. I read every word because your journey matters. And remember, transformation begins in silence, but the path continues together.